All right. Um, Welcome. My name's Moonlight Mystic from Conscious Life Revolution, and uh, I would like to bring a message that I received on the 10th of November, yesterday morning, and it is called the Heart Equation. And so I'm going to attempt to bring that to you now. I was on Facebook Live, and just the whole video was just interrupted through not having a strong connection. And now I just sort of feel like this channel through YouTube is just so much easier. It's so much static on Facebook. Anyway, I'm just gonna start the message. I just want to hold this up to the camera. This is my rainbow angel quartz crystal, and it's just okay. Breath, right? Breath. All right. So I'm feeling this is a lot easier now. Um, all right. So the message, I wrote this down on the back of a photograph because when I woke up on yesterday morning, I heard the angels whisper in my ear, and they said 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 plus 11 is 20. And then there was the echo of that 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, and 9 plus 11 is 20. And they said to me, this is the heart equation. I was like, okay, I'm going to go write that down. And I didn't have any paper. And so I happened to write it on a photograph. This is a photograph of my son. And so I wrote it down, and the emphasis is that the equation is doubled, okay, or there's yeah, it's doubled. It's like there's an echo, or there's a call and respond of this equation that's working itself out within humanity. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 plus 11 equals 20. And then 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 plus 11 equals 20. We move into 2020. 2020 is the clarity. It is the perspective that begins to emerge, that is greater, that is more connected to the heart, than the perspective that we have received under the projected realities of the governing mind, and the presentations of what of the reality that has been presented within our news and our media, and within that world. The energetic pattern of consciousness has had a direction by which it manifests the vision. And when we talk about vision, the highest vision is the vision that supports and empowers the heart energy to live in freedom and to be connected to the um, the systems and the structures that have been provided for us within our natural world, within the earth plane. And so when we are connected to those energetic structures and systems, what comes about from that is life. Okay. And we are life. We've been in an assimilation that has taught us all the things that we need to do in order to have a life or have something, and what we have been unconscious of is the fact that we are life. Okay, we are life. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. Let's look at that. So in that perspective, I saw it as being the trinity of light, of of um of perfect divine order on the planet. The 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, the 369, the Tesla philosophy. And so that is the 9 that is created through the divine trinity. That is um, our consciousness, and the body, the sun, that we are as humanity, and the spirit. Okay, and that is why Christ came to the earth to teach us of the divine Trinity, that we are part of that Trinity as humanity. We are the sun. We are made in the image um, of this connection, and we bring the transmission. Jesus is mankind in their highest form. You want to look at his life and the way that he lived? Yes, that's mankind in their highest form, connected to their highest self. And so the self of our soul energy is being upgraded. We're moving into the governance, and that governance of the people um, is accessed through the heart equation, through the heart energy. The heart shall become the governing consciousness um, of this world. And that is to bring um, the the kingdom. We say, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." It's not just a prayer. We are, what is prayer? It is the offering of the self. It is not asking the God outside of ourselves to act and to do something. It is asking the God within ourselves to act and to do something. Okay, because we are the transmission of that kingdom. Okay, and so 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 and 11 is 20. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 and 11 is 20. So I was seeing it sort of like as 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 and 11 is 20. It's sort of like the expansive um, um, awareness of the governance that we are through our heart transmission. And when that heart transmission is, I mean, that's why pictures of Jesus, and you see the heart, and the heart is the fire, and it's talking about the collective heart transmission. Okay, so let's have a look at the old energetic patterns of consciousness that have ruled our world. The pattern has been that it has come from the physical projection of the presentation um, of world events and of perspectives through the teleportation of the vision that we get through our screens, right? And so we listen to the news and we listen to the government and we listen to the events and we listen to the movements of what they're doing. And then we just are we fall under that consciousness, and then we are re- we are in a way regurgitating that transmission and declaring it and speaking, oh, have you heard, and this is what's happening, and da, 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 da. And so we are not coming from the place of spiritual speak. We're coming from the place that is where there are projected thought forms that are entering our consciousness through the presentation of the governing mind of the dark trinity that enters the consciousness, and then the consciousness integrates that through the body into the heart energy, and then we think, oh, I'm anxious, I'm fearful, I judge this person and I judge that person, and I and so we become the transmission of that narrative and of that perspective. Okay. So the energetic pattern has been from that realm of physical, of our physical 3D world, and the presentation of that into the spiritual um, soul energy that we are. Okay, we are spiritual beings having the human experience, and that human experience has been a part of that human experience has been the path that we have had to take in terms of evolution of living under the shadow. And the shadow energy or soul energy is it's the ways in which we are not conscious of what is going on within our own heart. Instead of owning it, we then follow that pattern. We project it outside of ourselves. We even project God as being somewhere outside of ourselves, and the devil as being outside of ourselves. And so this is the pattern. This is the paradigm. Okay. Now we're moving into where it gets flipped. So the pattern now that we're entering into is this almighty paradigm shift where it is the spiritual presentation of self that then determines the physical world reality that we live in. And so we are being asked to come out of our shell. We are being asked to step forward into the gifts, the talents, the qualifications, and the wisdom that we have developed within this world that was under the shadows, and we're bringing that through. And it's not about jobs anymore. It is about using the gifts, the talents, the qualifications to contribute to a community and a collective heart energy of what we are building from the ground up. And that transmission comes from the spiritual world to the physical world. Okay. And we have had the transmission from this physical world to the spiritual world that is within our heart, and we have been functioning under the shadow. Now we are coming out of the shadows. We are coming out of the shadows. And so what is the heart equation? We are adding, this is the addition. We are adding ourselves into the self into the equation, because there has been this great divide, and the governing mind and the people. And now we are adding ourselves. We are coming into the equals. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. the governing consciousness, and 9 and 11 equals 20, the clarity, the vision, 2020 vision. Okay, and then we move into 2021. I'll talk about that another time. So the 2020, and the equal, we are leveling up, we are rebalancing, we are finding ourselves moving out of old narratives and old perspectives of self that were held within the shadows, and we are moving into more connection to our heart, and to the collective heart that is beginning to beat. And it is not beating in fear, it is beating in excitement and readiness. It is beating in a way that faces everything and begins to rise, because these are all illusions of the self. We are not here to run a machine. We are not here to give our soul energy to a world that doesn't serve the spiritual aspect of who and what we are as people. Okay, and so we are bringing back the spiritual aspect of our world, and so that is what begins to form the emergence of the governance of the spiritual principles by which we live, so that we can bring the balance of the spiritual world to the physical world. Okay, and so that they can become one. Okay, right. Nine, I believe, is the number of governance. Okay, and so, and 11 is about the effort, the determination, the things that we are putting our heart energy into and our consciousness into, and it is being divinely led with that determination, that resilience, that effort, that work, that it is building something that is purposeful. It is the energetic structures and systems of our new world. Okay, right. And so 11, if we look back in time on the global clock, in the year when we faced the 9/11 event in history, 9 was the governance, and 11 was the twin towers that crumbled. Okay, the two towers that crumbled, and that was the World Trade Center. And now we are here in 2020, and we are beginning to see the old structures and systems falling apart, and we are being, there is a trickery there that make wants to put us in the position where we think, oh no, we have to stop this, we we want our jobs, we have to fight to keep our jobs, and da, 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 da. No, just let it all crumble, because they are making it seem like they're trying to hold the old system in place. Okay, when we can go, okay, well, it's not about jobs anymore, it's about community, it's about offering and contributing the gift, the talent, and the qualification for the rebuilding of our new world that is established on the governance of the spiritual principles by which we live. And we begin to bring through those energies through our soul transmission. 11 is about the divine, and the twin tower 11 was about division. It's setting up a event that then causes there to be two opposing forces, or two opposing perspectives or consciousness of what is real, let's say. And so you have the perspective of I don't think we'll go into that right now, actually. I think we'll just keep moving. So yes. So division is the opposite of vision. because vision is about recognizing the completion of all things, how everything interworks with everything else. Diversity is something that creates life. And when everyone has different ways of looking at things, that's something that builds the energetic structures and the energetic systems even stronger. And so you can't just have one perspective and then have that perspective pounding into the people, and then we're all robots and we're walking around, oh yes, the one perspective, and and this is the vision. And even in terms of the way the world has been structured, we've all been given this little black box that sits in our living room, where we get to live in this room, and we get to watch this box that teleports the vision. And so we have become spiritually, we've fallen asleep. The spirit has just slowly lulled into this sleep. But now we're moving into 2020 and beyond, and that's when the eyes are beginning to open, and at an accelerated rate. And so we are beginning to see that through some of the structures that have been our world. We begin to see through them, and we begin to recognize that actually there's another illuminated path before us. And so, yes, it is the unknown, but also it is already known. It is known within your heart. People are leaving their jobs left, right, and center because that's not the way anymore. That's the old system. And so people that hold on to that structure are holding on to it out of fear, because they don't know, they don't have the spiritual awareness of let it all fall, let it all crumble, just let it do its work. In any tower, if there is too much weight just on one side of um too much weight given to one perspective only, eventually that tower will topple over, because you need diversity, you need community, you need the interconnected web of interdependence. That is how we are meant to live. And that is what brings back the new earth, and brings the kingdom back to the earth. And we are the light workers, we are the revolutionaries, we are the visionaries, we are the ones that are doing the work, and the energetic work is a part of our is the energetic work is the shadow work. It is the shadow work that leads to our soul evolution, and the heart energy begins to evolve out of old shadows, and out of old narratives, out of old perspectives of self, and we begin to embrace the highest self, which is the Christ consciousness. Okay. When that consciousness and that energy returns to humanity, then that is speaking of the return. We're not just waiting for Jesus to surf in on a cloud. Okay. Out there in the sky. Oh, is he coming? And we're all in our holy huddle waiting. No. He said, work out your own salvation. He didn't say, oh, I'm your savior, I'll do everything. You can put your feet up. Just wait in your holy huddle when it all gets dark, and I'll just come pick you up in my beamer. No, he didn't say that. He said, work out your own salvation with fear and with trembling. Okay. Fear is not something that shuts us down. Okay. I think sacred fear is something that revs us up. It's feeling excited and ready. It is facing everything and rising. Okay. Fear is the energy that can motivate us into new development of our own of the vision that is coming through. When we begin to see the vision and the perspectives that are going to support that vision, and what we what should we fear? You know, there's this pattern that says, oh, we fear the big almighty, um you know, system that shadows over us and says, I'm in control here, and all this sort of stuff. And so, oh gosh, we better do what that says, that energy, that consciousness. But that's not healthy fear, because that shuts you down, and then you are overcome and overwhelmed. Your system and your soul transmission then becomes, you submit to that. That's why it says, resist the devil and he will flee. And we're resisting the temptation to just fear and collapse in fear and just go, oh, it's all too much. I have to do this. And it's like, so spirit will make a way. Spirit will make a way for you. So let's carry on with the heart equation. So 9/11 was an event that happened way back when. We all know about it, right? We all saw it on our television screens, and so that was the tower that was crumbling, and now we're bringing the tower that is beginning to be built. But it's not really a tower; it's more like a house. It's a house. We build strong the house. Okay. And so that this 9 and 11 becomes one. It is the emergence of the connection, that we bring together, the rebalancing of our light and our shadow, and we find the wisdom and we find the way forward. There is a purpose in walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and it is the valley of shadows, and that is what it means to come to earth. We are here to walk through the shadow, to overcome the shadow and to come out of the shadow, and then to bring that greatest light. um I wrote something down. What did I do with it? I don't know, but it went along the lines of, um we are called to travel through the darkness that will actually activate our greatest light. Okay, it's part of soul evolution. So yes, I want to talk about zero now. I just kind of like felt this blocking energy, but that's okay. We'll push through it. So zero um is the circle of life. It is the creation, the infinite possibility of creation. Zero. Okay. And so when we move into 2020, that's about 2020 vision, where we are reestablishing and rebalancing the vision, because we have to take into consideration the shadows we have lived under in order for us to come into this greatest light. And so that's where the 2020 vision, we need to be able to see in the dark, and so we've lived under the shadow. Now we're coming out of the shadows, and through living in that shadow, we develop the spiritual ability to then see in the dark. Okay. And so and to come into our greatest light. When we've been taught mathematically that we start at zero, and then we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and into infinity. Numbers just keep going and going and going, and that is the universe. That's the expansive reality. Now, and then we've been told also that when you go below zero, you go into the negative. But I don't believe that. I think anything below one is just more and more zeros. Okay, because that is our value as human beings. We are worth millions and trillions and that is our value. And when we begin to rebalance the other side, this is the counting 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 3D, the physical reality. But when we count below one to the zero, then after that, what is that? We're not going into the negative, we are going into the spiritual world. And so we need to bring that world into balance with this world. Okay, and so that's what's happening, is there's a rebalancing. Okay, and that rebalancing is happening within us. And I think that what will happen is when we begin to move out of the old paradigm that was all about jobs and working for the man, and we were part of the machine and a part of the clogs within the wheel that was creating the wealth that was being enjoyed by the top 1%. Well, now that's going to be flipped. Because when we actually reclaim our energy, we reclaim our consciousness, we reclaim our energy, then what happens? Well, we begin to move into our talents and our gifts, and we begin to align with our spirit, and we begin to find the qualifications, the talents, the gifts, and all the things that are going to be needed in the navigation of our new world. And then here we find all one another. And now we find that, yes, we are the 99%, they are the 1%. Okay. And so 99, let's have a look at that. So 9 and 9, let's add in the heart equation math, like 9 and 9 is 18, 8 and 1 is 9. 9 3 times is 27, and 2 and 7 is 9, and on you go. No matter how many times you multiply 9, it creates or equals to a digit at the end. You connect those two together and it will produce 9 again. Okay, so it is like this never ending expansive multiplication, that it just keeps coming back to the same point. Okay, it's the governance of the spiritual principle by which we live. It is the governance of the people, of the collective heart. And when we join with 11, which, the 1111, the 2020, we are finding the illuminated path, and we are finding the creative, endless possibilities of creation. When we work together as one. Exciting stuff. And so, there's mandates that are being released. And I say that there are employers that have felt unsupported, and there are employees that have felt suffocated, and they are about ready to leave the old world and the old system, and to use those resources, those gifts, those talents, those qualifications as a contribution to the navigation of our new world. Yes, they are. Right. I would like to read now a Lemurian deck card that I pulled. We're doing well for time. Oh, look. Now, the star at the top, that is, it's like the crown. The collective self of the highest self, of the spiritual self, of that world that is coming through the heart energy, and our consciousness. This is where we dream, this is the imagination, this is where the vision is. And look at that beautiful butterfly. That is the transformation. It is on the throat chakra, and the vibrational energy that is coming out of that, because we are beginning to move into a place where we will speak and declare, have a declaration of the world that we want to create as a collective. We are bringing in this new world, and And there it's the new blueprint. How exciting. So let's read that. And here we go. Be the change, take action, take a step, no matter how small, ignite an upward spiral, make a positive change, ethics and compassion. Creating a ripple of light. And look, there it is. And when we begin to speak, um, speak out loud, our heart, our vision, speak of our soul, of our energy, of the way in which we want that soul energy transmission to what we want to create. Okay, because we must look now at what is the energy and the transmission that you want to turn up as on the earth. Don't be distracted by the narratives and by the petty arguments that are happening in terms of this division of perspective. That is not where it is at. Okay, we are not here to be in resistance. We are not here to resist something. We are here to create it and to move into higher positions of energetic transmission. And if you want to do that, the greatest place to move into is your heart energy. That is where our home is. Be the change you wish to see is an empowering mantra to remind us that we can step up and create the blueprints for the world we want to know. Powerful meaning change starts with you today. Despite our desire to see change, we can be overwhelmed by all that is going on in the world, and making a positive impact can seem impossible. It is healthy to have an interest in what is happening around us, but it is important not to become so disheartened that we can't find the inner light to ignite even the tiniest upward spiral of improvement. There is still so much natural beauty on this incredible blue planet, and there are organizations and solo game changes creating amazing transformation all the time. Shift your focus onto what is possible rather than what isn't. Stepping forward with action, however small, will benefit the vibration of the planet in some way. We have more of a voice than we realize. As consumers, we can direct our energy and make a difference through ethical choices. Stepping out of our own needs and wants, we can help people less privileged. We can pick up rubbish. We can be present with someone or smile at those we share a path with. Small acts create a ripple of goodness in the world. Consider how all beings can co-inhabit this glorious planet. Could you design a blueprint for ethical, compassionate, heart? What does it say? Centered living. Heart-centered living. That sounds good. What would the guardians of this earth need to do? Need to be? How would they feel about themselves? And what can we do to uphold this? Put your consciousness towards these thoughts. What would the guardians of this earth need to do? The angelic realm. And we are the archangels, we are the light workers, we are the visionaries, we are the revolutionaries, we are the artists, we are the medicine people, we are all of those aspects. Those are the things that have been manipulated into different forms and structures of world reality. That the blueprint is where our society evolved from, and the Trinity of Darkness has taken our blueprint and created systems and structures and things um, that are not in balance with the um, with the energy that is reflected in the divine order and natural order of our planet. This card inspires action, no matter how small, that will create a ripple of light in the world. You're part of a bigger picture, a greater story. Your actions, your choices, your presence is making a difference. You have more power than you realize. Focus on what you can do and do it well. Change takes time, so make plans and start now. And I really believe that by 2022, um, a lot of those plans, actions, visions, perspectives are going to come into full momentum. We will find each other, and we will begin to build the house, the house that will stand. We are falling apart as people because we are following an unnatural system that does not serve spirit, the spirit. And the spirit, we are mind, body, soul, and spirit. Okay. And the spiritual transmission is connected to the blueprint of the earth and the natural order of things. And so when we bring that transmission and we connect to the earth and we connect to that collective heart energy, and we come out of those shadows, we come out of our shell. We're no longer afraid of being seen as spiritual. Everyone's, well, not everyone, but there's stigma. And if you too spiritual, people think you're weird or you've lost the plot or whatever. But this is part of our expression and our transmission of our soul, and so we need to find the missing piece, and we can't find true peace in our heart until we find that reflection of the self, our spiritual self, our divine essence. We're made in the image of God, and that God is such a loaded term, but it is the spiritual aspect of self that lives within the heart. And when we go deep into the heart, then we find that world. And so the world that we create must come from the heart transmission, because that is the place of the blueprint that was once in balance and in connection to everything that is. We had that power. We have fallen in our consciousness and in our energy to a system and structure that is unnatural. And we have the advantage because we are the 99. And as I said, through the heart equation, we are 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 and 11 is 20. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9, and 9 and 11 is 20. And this is another 9/11 point on the clock. But this is not what we see on the news. This is what we are seeing happening, the towers that are falling, and it's in the spiritual world that they are falling. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? So that's it. That's it. That's the heart equation. And so be encouraged, move it more into your heart energy. Know that we have the vibration of the earth, we have the vibration of the spiritual world, and that light is increasing, and it is increasing in us, through us opening up our hearts. And we find that beautiful opening up of the lotus flower. We find that in the middle of the mud. It's interesting. We have glimpses of the flame, the spiritual flame that arrive in our soul transmission. We can be devastated about something and with a friend and crying together, and then something funny happens, or the other offers a memory or a funny remark or something, and in that pain and in those tears you also laugh together, and that breaks something too, because it brings the balance. Like at funerals, when we are all collectively within the heart that is feeling for the loss of the person that has um, transferred to the other world, and so we are all feeling that within the heart, and there are times when people get up and they cry and they are in grief, and we feel that and we go, yeah, that's sad. Yeah. But then we also have all the amazing stories and the celebrations of that life, and then we laugh and we remember the silly things they used to do, or whatever it was, and this is the balance. This is the balancing of the energies within the emotional underworld. We can go through things in life that happen in our world, and it can feel overwhelming, but we need to listen to the sounds that are happening in the silence and the movements that are happening in the stillness. And we can begin to tap into those heart energies, and recognize that um, it's healthy to just let whatever needs to move through the heart, let it move through the heart, let it find its expression and its voice through the heart. We will begin to speak through the heart, live through the heart, and manifest through the heart, because we've lived in a world that has tried to force and manifest um, through the mind, not the consciousness, through the mind, try, striving to achieve, and that kind of energy. And that's served its purpose for a time, but we are moving into heart energy, and that's the energy of the divine feminine energy, the goddess energy. And um and so, God is not just a man. He's not just gender related as masculine. He is both masculine and feminine. And so the rebalancing of those energies um, is important, because that is where the kingdom is. And as we rebalance those energies within us and we give acceptance to all the movements that are there, they are like movements of water, and we just allow them to be there. We don't hold on to um, stagnant energies, hurt energies, things that have um, happened, and we just can't let it go, and that's blocking the flow of the water, and our heart becomes hardened and it becomes shut down. And I know, because I've been there, and there have been times when um, I thought my spirit is just completely dead. I just don't want to go on. But I'm not in that place anymore. Why? Because there is resurrection and there is life. There are cycles, and we move through them. We are so connected to this earth. We say earth to earth and dust to dust, because um, we have the same cycles. We have soul cycles, and they are cycles of the soul star, And the soul star is the higher self. And like I said, we have to travel through the darkness to find our greatest light. There's no other way. There's no other way. That's what Jesus was referring to when he said, you know, the great I am that lives within. You know, it's the way, it's the truth, it's the life. And it's the way of the shadow. We have to walk through the shadow. Jesus did the shadow work. He did it 40 days, 40 nights in the desert. He did his shadow work. He had shadow. We all have shadow. That's what it is to be human. And so this is moving through shadow energies into new energies and into new awareness of the self. And when we begin to let go of old narratives and old perspectives that were based in fear and in resistance to the self, and um, judgments that we've made about ourselves because we've lived in a harsh world of shadow. Makes us feel like we're not good enough, makes us feel all sorts of feelings. We don't hold on to those, we let them go. And that's where the shape shifting begins. Sometimes your voice begins to change, sometimes you look different, sometimes you live differently. All these changes that are happening inside of you begin to be seen on the outside by other people, and they say, what is happening with you? That's what they say. What's happening with you? I am finding myself. I am finding my true self, not the self that I feel I should be in this situation or that situation. It's like, no, this is, I'm coming into the pure transmission of my God-given soul energy. And this is the shadow work. This is the heart magic. So if you've enjoyed this, there is a heart magic transmission that I have created. It's about 40 minutes long, and it kind of touches on different things that we're going to talk about more and more. And it is what I have created. It is a spiritual perspective of the vision, that the perspectives that will begin to support the vision of the world that we are here to create as the soul transmission and the soul energy. We're not here to work these freaking 9 to 5 jobs. We're not here to serve the government. The consciousness, the governing consciousness of that heart energy is here to serve humanity. Okay. And so that is the Christ consciousness. It is here to serve humanity in transformation and coming through the shadows and coming into the full expression and transmission of our light on the earth. And that light transmission is diverse and unique to each person. Okay. And we offer that into the circle of the collective heart, the creation of infinite possibility. And that's a lovely place to leave this video. And I hope you've enjoyed this session of transmission and the heart equation. The math. Do the math. 99%. Mm. And when we connect with the right consciousness of the blueprint, when we are one with that consciousness, that Christ consciousness, okay, when we are one, the 99 connects with the one. It makes 100, right? 100, and that 100 is multiplied and multiplied and multiplied because that is our value, that is our worth. There are not just hundreds of us, there are thousands and millions of us. Just remember that. It's just finding the way in which we interconnect, network, and find one another. So please go and watch. Now, so funnily enough, I have entitled the Heart Magic Transmission. It's a video, Millionaire. And so that is what I felt to do. And it's about the transition from old structures and systems and into the dream and into the place of home and the place of heart. Heaven is in your heart. Okay, heaven is in your heart. All right. So blessings, love, and light. This is Moonlight Mystic from Conscious Life Revolution. Be blessed, be encouraged, be empowered. Namaste.